Well, good afternoon, councillors, those that are here in the gallery in attendance and those that might be listening in also. Thank you for your attendance today. And as we do gather here on the unceded Palawa lands, the original and ongoing owners, we open today's meeting at 1 p.m. Please be seated. We do have, under agenda item 1, opening of meeting statement, attendance and apologies. We do have 2 apologies. We have apologies from Councillor Kai and Councillor Palmer. And also as a part of Meeting Procedures Regulations 2025 Regulation 8, it does say, just to remind those that are here in attendance around being respectful, because there is an audio-visual recording being made of this meeting also. I've got an acknowledgement to make under Mayoral Acknowledgements, which is number 2. So as a part of National Volunteers Week, I want to say a really huge thank you to all of the volunteers right across our community, those that give their time, they give their energy and they give the care every single day of the week, not just through that week, of course, from sporting clubs to community groups, charities, events, emergency services. So much of what makes Lonnie such a special place is what wouldn't happen without those volunteers. I want to particularly recognise just today as an example of that group, the incredible volunteers from the Launceston Horticultural Society who they've quietly, for a long time, dedicated years of work to helping maintain and care for our city park. Since about 2008, this small group has met about every Thursday to help maintain that in there. So just as recognition for Volunteers Week, I'd like to use Mayoral Acknowledgements for that moment there. As we move through the Mayoral Acknowledgements into Declarations of Interest at 3, a councillor must declare any interest that a councillor has in any matter before any discussion on that matter commences. May I please have any declarations of interest? The Deputy Mayor 11.1. At 11.1. Thank you. Any further declarations? We'll move forward through to 4 then, which is the confirmation of minutes. 4.1, recommendation being that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the City of Launceston Council held on the 14th of May be confirmed as true and correct record. Somebody please to move. Councillor Harris, seconded. Councillor Marsden, contributions to the minutes. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. Workshops are at 5. 5.1 are the workshops that have been conducted in the report of the 21st of May. Recommendation being that Council notes the council workshops conducted and attended since the last council meeting for those purposes published. Somebody please to move. Councillor Priest has moved, seconded by Councillor Walker. Any contributions to the workshops? Okay, there being none. Putting it to the vote, all those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. We have leave of absences, which will be considered as a part of closed council at 6. We have no community reports identified today. So we move into questions by members of the public. At 8.1, we have questions on notice by members of the public. They are published and responded to as a part of this agenda. So we move to 8.2, which is questions without notice by members of the public. I don't have any noted here, but noting Mr. Baines is moving to the microphone, we'll take questions from the gallery.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay.
Just your name.
I heard a rumour that our CEO, Sam Johnson, would like his office moved up to the flat in our town hall and a lift installed. Is this true?
Thank you, Mr. Baines. And just 3 questions each, name and suburb, just for the record.
Ron Baines, Kings Meadows, 7249.
Thank you. I will hand to the CEO.
Thank you, through the Chair. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, Mr. Baines, but no, there is no lift being installed.
Sorry?
There is no lift being installed to my office.
No truth in that?
No.
Oh, good. Oh, you're quite happy with where you're sitting there at the moment, downstairs?
No. So
all right, thank you very much.
It is upstairs already.
But no lift.
Oh, are you?
No lift. He's been upstairs for quite an amount of time now.
All right. What about the lift thing then? You don't want a lift?
No.
No? Oh, that's good. I thought maybe you might be disabled or something.
Thank you for the question, though, Mr. Baines.
All right,
Any subsequent questions?
Yeah. Let me think. Oh, well, yeah. I was wondering how come Mr. Palmer got $18,000 from this council when he's running a business, which I presume is not running at a loss.
Thank you, Mr. Baines. I'm just assuming that through the sponsorships and grants, you're talking about the Dance Championships. They run through a process in which Councillor Palmer did note a declaration of interest, and that's running separately to any of his personal or private endeavours around his teaching. This is subsequent and different and separated from those. This is a community event.
Well, I appreciate that he would leave the meeting while the council was discussing it, but I expect his presence was still very much noticed. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Baines. Further questions without notice, Mr. Smith? Oh, Miss Ives.
Rosalind Ives, West Launceston. Now, my question today, or questions, are around heritage. Cole Council decision-making about heritage properties listed for development or demolition. Currently, planning process does not allow for interim protection of unlisted properties. For example, the recent demolition of 180 George Street. The problem facing local heritage is the lack of interim protection for unlisted heritage places and precincts. There is currently a gap in interim protection for locally listed heritage in Tasmania. Under the Tasmanian planning scheme, there is no protection for unlisted or character properties, even those identified for or currently in the process of being listed on the local heritage register. Heritage precincts are essential if we are to take more seriously the heritage value of Launceston. They preserve and maintain not only the individual buildings, but also the historic streetscapes and foster a sense of place and community. Would Council look at this issue within the planning scheme and take steps to propose an interim protection clause to be inserted into the planning laws? What can be done to ensure planning decisions are based on knowledge of the sacredness of intact streetscape protections? Education of councillors about our historic city heritage is needed to shift from the general to deeper knowledge. Could there be an induction phase for all newly elected councillors to be given some insight about the history and value of heritage as part of their requirement for representing the community? Launceston's heritage is of world value and will always attract tourism dollars. If we make the necessary changes to fully protect it, we'll be on a winner.
Great. Thank you, Rosalind. Thank you for your questions and your advocacy. I will take those on notice, just in the way in which there is quite a bit of information there that I'd like to ensure that we're able to deliver to you, particularly around induction and moving forward through a council election year, and around the provisions that we have with those further levers that we might be able to explore and pull around interim planning scheme amendments and heritage listing processes. So I'd like to ensure that we get the full breadth and answer to that for sure.
Really high agenda, it's right up the top of the agenda of what we stand for.
Excellent, thank you. Any further questions without notice? Thank you.
Somewhere in between. Ros Lewis Trevelyan. I acknowledge that the Council has to prepare for and deal with all kinds of emergencies, but my point, again, is specifically about those caused by climate change, as clearly written in documents such as this one, that the Council makes no secret of that connection. Thank you for the answers to my earlier questions, which are in the minutes. The one about spending, which is embedded in everything, but I was able to find a few standout costs. For example, $58 million for flood levies just before the big floods, and the levies study showed them to be very effective. Around about that time, $500,000 from the Tasmanian government, another $1 million from the Australian, $174,000 from taxpayers towards the levies, ratepayers, might have been more. We also have the cost of the Flood Authority, the Emergency Management Coordinator, and much more, as well as rising insurance premiums. I'm already in touch with the representatives from the council who are going to go to the local government conference, so I'll skip my comment about that, and I really appreciate them getting in touch. As shown in this is more about my question today. As shown in the attachment to my question at the last meeting, Sydney Council has proposed that there will be a fund set up rather than having to get grant after grant to fund climate expenses into the far future. The innovation in the Sydney motion and other similar ones being passed around the country is that petroleum, gas and coal giant companies should be compelled to contribute to a long-term fund that would go to councils. My question, as petroleum, gas and coal companies are profiteering from our misery, will the Launceston Council pass its own motion, as well as supporting those from Sydney and around the country, to urge the Australian Government to set up such a fund and make the big polluters pay?
Great, Ms Lewis. Thank you for the question. And we will take that on notice also, because I can't stand here and speak on behalf of the councillors as individuals, as that would require some work to go into a notice of motion or the like, but I can say that that will be conversed as a part of your question and that answer, and we'll look to ensure that that information is forthcoming by taking that on notice as well. So I'd be very confident that in the lead up, in particular to going to ALGA, that there will be some conversation around notices of motion and how they're supported by the City of Launceston, but then also around how that could be further impacted around our own positions and policies as well. I wouldn't feel comfortable to answer that directly right now, but that's a substantive piece of work that will be undertaken. Thank you. Mr Smith?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Robin Smith on behalf of Coffee Republic. Technical question. At the last meeting, I asked several questions, and as expected, because it related to a matter on the agenda, you choose, the Council, for some reason, not to answer it, and it's taken as a question on notice. I can't find a response in 500 odd pages here. So that question, I just wonder particularly about the security guards and the funding of them and how much. Never got a response to that. Just wondered if that was oversight or was that a new...
Okay. We'll follow that with the CEO and governance around, again, we'll just confirm the policy and the City of Launceston's position on live agenda items, and as to if they're officially or unofficially taken on notice, or whether they're there for the listening ear of the councillors to ask on the behalf of a community member. We'll clarify that for you.
Thank you. CCTV, closed-circuit television, public safety cameras. I just want to pick up, I had heard that the bus stop in St John Street had the majority of the CCTV cameras out of operation. It was actually reported in the paper it was a trader that had an issue. When they went to follow up, there was no footage from the bus interchange cameras. So I came to Council on the 22nd of August 2024 and asked if any of the cameras were out of order, and there was a response that only one was. But it appears that there were several more, and particularly focusing on the bus interchange in St John Street, were out of order, the majority. And so I was referred to the Metro, the operator of the buses, but they referred me to the State Growth. State Growth said no, the body that receives the funding for public safety cameras from federal and state is the council. So I came back to council and they said the facilities are not working. So from that question, I asked at the AGM, I had a motion, because apparently the council has a doctrine that closed-circuit CCTV is not for public safety, it's asset security. And indeed, you brought a motion yourself, Matt, 31st of July 2025, and the response from council again was unequivocal that CCTV in Launceston, operated by council, is not for public safety or crime prevention. And they went on to say that it focuses only on managing council facilities. not broader public safety. So council's got all the money over the years, and the federal, $100,000, and the state money, and the other state agencies believe council is the operator of CCTV. Where do I go from here? I'm at a dead end. Council says, well, it's not its concern, and the funding bodies and the agencies associated with it says, they keep pointing back to council, and council says, well, public safety is not the role of CCTV.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Smith, and we'll take that on notice, and we'll look to those funding agreements around where grants and so forth filter through to council and the requirements of those, and further explore those around asset management and protection and public safety. We'll have a deeper dive into that, and it's something that will be also addressed through the City Heart developments as we move forward around that management plan and that delivery plan.
Thank you. So because so much money and time and effort is being focused, this is the question. If there is anything council can do about the system, the CCTV system in St John Street, is there anything council can do? I'd ask again, I know you've told me 100 times that it's not your role, but I'd ask again, is it something you can look at, please?
Sure, thank you. Thanks very much, Mr. Smith. Were there any further questions without notice? Okay, we'll continue through the agenda. Thanks, Mr. Baines. So, through the agenda at 9 and 10, we have no petitions or deputations identified as a part of this agenda. So we move into Planning Authority at 11. Noting the Deputy Mayor's declared interest under the provisions of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act of 1993, Council acts as a planning authority in regard to items included in agenda under 11, which is Planning Authority. As we sit now, we work through 11.1, which is 14 West Tamar Road in Trevallyn. Before we do get to any recommendations, we will just move through the notice of intention to speak, in which I do have some noted speakers, so thank you for that in advance. I might start, please, working through with, thank you, Mr. Smith, with Ms. Lewis. Ross, you're noted to speak to this one? Oh, your name's written down. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's just written here, that's all. Thank you. Cool. Thank you. We'll move through the other noted speakers that I've got written down at 11.1, which is Mr. Bailey. Thank you, Mark.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Mark Bailey. I'm in Launceston, and I'm the treasurer of the Tamar Rowing Club. So I'm here today just to share some of the key benefits of the billboard proposal that's been put forward today. First of that is that the club, it'll move the club from being sound financially to secure financially. This new income represents 15% of our current underlying revenue, and it is a mainstay of the club's financial health well into the future, so 15% of our current revenue. The second thing is that it'll enable to bring forward our project called the Safer River Clean Motors Project to replace 5 old dirty 2-stroke motors with quiet efficient 4-stroke motors. And that'll deliver improved safety for all river users and a cleaner environment outcome for the Tamar. The final thing is that this project will brighten the future of our 146 club members in the club's 150th anniversary year. So this year is the 150th anniversary year of the club. And they'll do this by supporting structured investment program in equipment and club amenities, not just now and again, but every single year. Financial security is so important for community clubs, and the billboard proposal will help the Tamar Rowing Club to support its members and the community well into the future, and hopefully for another 150 years.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. We've got our second noted speaker, well, our third noted speaker, Mr. Mulder.
Good afternoon, Mayor, councillors and staff. My name is Justin Mulder and I represent Bishop Outdoor Advertising. We are Australia's largest privately owned outdoor media company, operating more than 3,000 advertising opportunities across Australia and New Zealand, with a proud focus on regional communities. Beyond billboards, we partner with airports across New South Wales, Queensland, Western Australia, New Zealand, and right here in Tasmania. Our business thrives on community-based partnerships. Our 86 staff live and work in the local marketplaces they serve, building the trusted relationships that allow us to invest back into local communities and partners like the Tamar Rowing Club. We respectfully but firmly reject the assessor's recommendation for refusal based on amenity. Amenity is highly subjective, and our proposal demonstrates strict compliance on every other technical and planning aspect. In our industry, amenity concerns are typically raised in the context of brightness. Bishop operates 80 digital screens across Australia, and we have done so for the last 11 years. In that time, not once has a complaint ever been raised about brightness after a screen has been established. Brightness is a reflection of quality. Our screens are fitted with automated light sensors where the brightness continuously adapts based on the time of day. At night, the screen adjusts to a highly conservative luminance level of just 2.5 lux, making it significantly dimmer than the standard oncoming car headlights or the street lights on this stretch of the highway. This ensures compliance with controls of the obtrusive effects of outdoor lighting and the Ausroads Guide to Traffic Management. And the sign will be operating strictly between the hours of 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. Frankly, you do not get a more appropriate location than this. The sign is positioned in an existing car park and is entirely contained within the physical profile of the adjoining buildings. Visiting the site in the evening, it is clear that the billboard will not diminish the visual character of the area when compared to the heavy infrastructure already dominating the landscape, including a bustling 4-lane highway, the seaport, the illuminated boardwalk, the Home Point Rugby Club, and the brightly lit Bunnings Big Box precinct. As previously mentioned, our proposal is backgrounded by the built form of the Tamar Rowing Club, not the gorge. If Council does not support commercial activities in this designated commercial zone, the appropriate mechanism is to update the Cataract Gorge Management Specific Area Plan. Bishop will remain actively engaged with the local community, and any residents with concern will be able to contact us directly. This is a compliant, low-impact proposal that keeps revenue local. We urge Council to support small and medium regional businesses and the Tamar Rowing Club by approving this application. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Mulder. Were there any other speakers that weren't noted? Okay, we'll move to the recommendation, which has been alluded to there. So the recommendation is that Council, a permit be refused for installation of an illuminated billboard sign at the Tamar Rowing Club at 14 West Tamar Road, following the published grounds. And we've got C1 6.1, C1 6.2 and C1 6.3 in particular, and then also the SAP. Somebody please to move. Councillor Britton has moved, seconded. Councillor Pentridge. Thank you. Now that this agenda item is live, we'll move to the table for questions. Councillor Britton with a question, then Councillor Harris.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Just for the sake of the argument, could I just get a bit of a brief sort of rundown on what the Cataract Gorge Specific Area Plan is and just quickly how it sort of ties into this and
Thanks, Councillor Britton. Through the Executive Leader of Community Asset and Design. To Richard.
The Cataract Gorge Management Specific Area Plan was developed at a time when the council was getting significant community pressure about development on the fringes of the Cataract Gorge. Things were going in that weren't necessarily consistent with the council's views, and the idea was that the planning scheme didn't deliver the level of protection to the gorge that the community desired. Now, I was the author of this plan back in the day, and I would like to say that it was extremely well contested. There was a huge amount of community interest in it. It had a very thorough airing through the Planning Commission, and it actually sets some quite strict guidelines for development on the gorge. But the council at the time were very clear that they didn't want the gorge to be incrementally chipped away at, because it is a core asset of Launceston as a city, and it's something that the community value. So these provisions came in place. The purpose of the plan, the first purpose of the plan, is to protect the Cataract Gorge Reserve from incremental loss and degradation of its character and values, and to require that development within the Cataract Gorge management area is appropriately planned, located, designed and constructed to minimise the impact to the natural, historic, cultural heritage, landscape and scenic character and values of the gorge. The important thing with this is that the gorge setting is as important in some respects as the gorge itself, because those are the things that you see when you are in proximity to the gorge. You look over the river, you look over the bridge, over King's Bridge, and there are the hillsides that aren't in the gorge but are continuous vegetation with the gorge are also very important. So this site is peripheral to the gorge. It is outside the gorge area. It is a commercial site, but it is within view lines of the gorge, and so this comes into one of our management areas. And the management area acknowledges that this is a commercial site, but it does seek to maintain a standard of development that doesn't detract from the values that we might see in the gorge. So that's a concise kind of, is that sufficient?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Councillor
And I've got another couple of follow-ups. I can probably combine them. So just ultimately, if that SAC wasn't there, how would that change probably what the recommendation was towards the current DA? And if we were to approve the sign today and go against the recommendations, would that set a precedent for other signs in not even just this specific area plan, but others as well?
There are more than one ground of refusal, so the officers believe that the sign is inappropriate generally and by virtue of its location in the Cataract Gorge. Now, as billboards have been assessed by the council, we've taken a view that, generally speaking, digital billboards don't contribute to our streetscapes. So where there are streetscape considerations, we've generally taken the view that they're not positive contributions, and that's flown through into this recommendation as well. Yeah, it's visual clutter, and it's also the amenity of the people that can see that from their properties.
Absolutely, but just one. So, would you say that this would set a precedent as well?
Not really, no, because planning each planning application needs to be taken on its merits. So the council have approved some billboards. The council officers have approved billboards under delegation. The council have approved them at the table, and we haven't said no to some as well. So I don't think each one is a setting, each one is a context, each one needs to be considered on its merits at the time, depending on its surrounding and the factors that contribute. So the simple answer to that would be no.
Great. Excellent, thank you. A further question, Councillor Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question in regard to the special area plan for the Cataract Gorge and the footprint of such a plan. Are you able to provide us with an indication of exactly where this special area plan
Excellent.
covers?
Thank you, Councillor Harris. And I'll just note that we've been able to provide that right now up on the screen.
So the Cataract Gorge, I didn't put the whole Cataract Gorge management plan in the plan. This is the hatched area. Obviously, it goes all the way to Duck Ridge, and it takes into account all the hillsides around West Launceston. But relevant for this, it takes in what we might call the throat of the gorge, or the precinct immediately either side. So it takes in Pennyroyal, the quarry, the hillsides around there, parts of the Gorge Road precinct, and then down here past the Tamar Rowing Club and Tamar Marine, the yellow areas. Each of those areas is subdivided into further precincts. So there's another map there, Chelsea, if we could put the second one up. Yeah, so that's a more detailed map of the precinct that this one is in. And so we've done this because you look towards the gorge, and when you're at Home Point and when you're on the boardwalk and things like that, your eye is drawn towards the gorge, and these things are in the view between there. So it's also in the precinct. As you come down the highway, you're entering the gorge, you start to see the water, you become aware of the gorge, and these things are in the view field. And that's why we've taken the view that we have.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. That was a very good explanation of the area. I guess from a point of view, for anyone who may be listening who can't see those, if you were to stand on the viewing platform at the bottom of Park Street and look towards the gorge, it is the area that covers the Tamar Rowing Club on the right, but also the commercial area of what is Stillwater on the left that you would say is the exclusive area, and the special area plan covers that, as well as you say, right up through the gorge, up through to the First Basin and beyond, I imagine.
But the illumination is facing the road, not the viewing dock.
Yes, the illumination is facing up the highway. So as you drive down the West Tamar Highway towards the gorge, that's the angle where you'd see this. You wouldn't see this from standing at Park Street. No. You would only see it when you're coming down the highway.
Mm. Thank you, and thanks for that clarification. Further questions? Councillor Pentridge.
Listening to the explanation really brought tears to my eyes. Speaking about eyes, if you're travelling along the highway and you're going past that facility, and if you're looking to the right while you're going to the left, I would gladly pay for any eye surgery or whatever you need, because I think you're cross-eyed. I've been driving for probably 70 odd years, and if I drive along that road, I'd be looking at Stillwater, I'd be looking at the basin, I wouldn't be looking down the gorge. Now, I've had the paperwork, read to me on numerous occasions, even today. I think I will be supporting.
So, just a question. This is just question time. This is just the question part first.
Yeah, I don't believe that it's not a natural thing to travel around the left-handed corner and look right. I don't believe it'll affect. I think if you read the reports, it's a repeat of the same half a dozen lines, and I might wait till.
So the question around that.
I can't ask questions because I think it's too simple words.
The questions around that, I do believe, are addressed in the report around drivers, the visibility, the distraction. We've seen in the report it changes at 30 seconds. These have been addressed in prior occasions. So I'll take that as a part of the question, that it's been addressed in the report around distraction and visibility. Obviously, we've got an application that thinks that it is going to be nice and visible because they wouldn't be putting an advertising billboard there otherwise, but it's been deemed in certain respects to the distraction is covered in the report there. Cool. Okay. Any further questions? Did I see a hand? Yep, Councillor Walker.
Thank you. Is there anything in regards to the streetscape, which I do believe is the code C 1.6.2? Is it?
Point 2 is the proposed billboard meets performance criteria streetscape. Yep.
Yes.
visual clutter and is
yeah.
inconsistent with the established.
In terms of the streetscape, in this case, and of course we do have other illuminated signs in Launceston, but is there anything in this streetscape that would be comparable to this proposal? Is there anything, in this street that you can compare it to, if that makes sense? Because otherwise, this streetscape is devoid of signage and visual clutter, if you like.
A couple of k's further along the highway, at the Griffside Golf Club, there is another illuminated sign. So that would be a similar thing. That would be the most similar as you drive past the golf club. It's not in our municipality and it's not necessarily connected to the gorge, but it is an illuminated sign at the golf club.
Great. And there is one past Penny Royal too.
Of course.
But not at the gorge, though.
No, at the corner of Margaret and the highway, there is a number of billboards. There's probably 2 non-movable billboards and an LED screen billboard that was approved possibly a year ago at that junction of Margaret and the highway, of course.
Thank you. Further questions? Councillor Harris?
Yeah, just a question on the lux capability. I don't understand what 2.5 lux is. Are you able to give us any indication of what the existing digital billboards operate under from a lux perspective?
That's not something that is a specific area of competency of the council staff, and we take advice on that. And there are standards around that. And as the proponent was saying, there are standards that govern it, and we would have no reason to think that this billboard wouldn't comply with those standards should it be approved.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor. Any further questions? Okay, well, we might move to speaking then, and Councillor Britton as the mover.
Thank you very much. Yes, what an interesting decision we have. Ultimately, first and foremost, I'm not against illuminated signs as long as they are in the right spot, and I'm absolutely not out to try and stop anybody having sort of commercial activity for their club, their business or whatever. In fact, I'd like to think I was probably on the other side. I want to see more of it. But in this report, our officers have given us a recommendation that has been built from their understanding of planning, and it is quite contentious. There is the gorge area plan. I know that we've been told this wouldn't set a precedent. I don't know how that really necessarily sits with me. I mean, if that wasn't there, and if it wasn't in a residential or partly residential zone, I understand that that particular piece of ground may be zoned commercial, but there are people who live directly opposite it. It is a very popular spot for walking. It does have a lot of natural values to it at the moment, and it is the entrance to the gorge. And I think there's a lot of public debate. We've talked about illuminated billboards before, and we all want to make sure Launceston doesn't end up like Las Vegas, and I think we've got a long way to go before that happens. But at the same time, I can't help but feel that decisions like this will impact that in the future. I am really struggling, and I am struggling to then go against the recommendation that's been put in front of us when there is such an important such an important asset to the city at stake, which is the gorge. I think it's fairly obvious what we're all weighing up at the moment, and to be honest, I'll be very interested just to hear what the rest of the table has to say on the matter. So I probably didn't say much there, but I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Britton. We are just going to take a moment. No, we're going to take a moment because it's glass. I want to make sure that everyone's safe. We're just going to take 3-minute little comfort break just for a moment. That's okay. please, at 141. Councillor Pentridge, Councillor Britton. Councillor Pentridge.
Now, I'll resume where I started before or left. I've been around for a while and I'm used to hearing stories. I'm struggling to see the connection between the highway and coming from the north to the gorge. My understanding is that the gorge is something that you pass once you come along the highway and you come onto the bridge. In my years of driving experience, I'd be looking to the left, and if there was no traffic, the traffic banks up down there, I wouldn't be looking down the gorge. And what disappoints me in this, in that we've got a rowing club. I mean, mind you, it's only the second best rowing club. North Esk is really the best, but we won't go there. They are financial. They've run a good club for all these years. And we seem to be talking about all this other amenity stuff, and what about their viability? This gives, the gentleman here has explained, this gives them a guaranteed financial income for a period of time. Where does that fit into everything else that we've heard? Well, I will be supporting them, and I think the sign, if it's a means of raising revenue, I would have preferred, if it's not going to be, everyone seems to keep mentioning LEDs and all that, and they're supposed to be the brightest things ever. Well, I don't really think they are. They're adjustable. And I don't believe, and I think if you read it carefully, it's not going to be some big flashing, impulsing light that's going to, it'll be something that after a period of time, I would imagine that people will drive past and won't even notice. So I'm hoping that my colleagues realise that, this is not just about some amenity of the gorge. The gorge is a beautiful place, and if I thought that this would distract from it, I just can't see how it will. But I think the North Esk, or not the North Esk, that's where they're going to join up eventually. But the Tamer deserves an opportunity to sell a bit of space, and if you can get an income for it, I think so be it, and well done. But I think I'll leave it at that. I think it's pretty obvious. I don't think you can drive along that road and you won't be staring at the sign. And if he can put something on that sign that makes it that noticeable, I might buy a few. Right? But then I'll leave it at that.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Pentridge. Further comments, contributions from the table? Councillor Harris.
Thanks, Mayor. And it is a reminder to the whole table that we do sit as a planning authority, and unfortunately the finances or otherwise of the Tamer Rowing Club aren't a planning matter. Having said that, it's good to hear they've survived for 150 years because they are prudent with their money, and I hope they continue to do so into the future. However, as shown today by the plan, there is a specific areas plan, a SAP, for the Cataract Gorge that includes this area. And it does indicate that we should be providing and protection of that whole area, and that would include, in my opinion, not to have a billboard attached to that the building there at the Tamer Rowing Club. So I'll be supporting the motion as proposed to deny the planning application and support our officers in their interpretation of the planning scheme in this particular case. Many will be aware that I have in fact supported other digital billboards around the city, so I'm certainly not against digital billboards, but I just think in this case it's probably in the wrong place. If it was 2 kilometres further north, there would be no such problem because it wouldn't be in the Cataract Gorge protection area. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Harris. Further contributions? Councillor Walker.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and I will stand to support the recommendation to deny this particular development application. I think there's some confusion there with the seconder, through you, Chair, of the motion. Maybe was just seconding the motion for the purposes of discussion, but the recommendation is that we're voting on is to not permit this development application for very good reason. And as the previous speaker noted, this is not about the finances or the attributes of the rowing club or the business involved. It is quite simply the planning scheme, and this sign does not comply with the planning scheme. It is not just about the entrance to the gorge, if you like, which this property does just get included in. It's also about the zoning of the land, the recreational use. It's about the streetscape, and we know that with technology, more signs like this probably on the way for Launceston and for other areas in Tasmania, but we also know the value of what we have here in terms of our streetscape, in terms of our environment, and we know that the planning scheme does protect those things, and that's why I'll be voting to support the officer recommendation to refuse this application.
Thanks, Councillor Walker. Any further contributions? Anything to close, Councillor Britton?
Look, no, but I will be voting in favour of the recommendation as well today. And obviously it has been said, I can fully understand why they would want the billboard there, but we, for all of those reasons, can't really take that into consideration. We sit here as a planning authority, it's a planning decision, and I'll be going with the officer's recommendation. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Britton. Okay, putting it to the vote, the recommendation to refuse. All those in favour? Those against? Councillor Pentridge and Mayor, the motion is carried. Excellent. 11.2. Welcome back, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. 11.2, we've got 9 Audrey Avenue in St Leonards. Before we do get to the recommendation, I have no noted speakers, so we'll move forward to that recommendation, being that council, a permit be granted for construction of a dwelling and a new crossover at 19 Audrey Avenue in St Leonards, subject to the published conditions. Somebody please to move. Councillor Harris has moved, Councillor Britton as the seconder. Now it's live. Any questions? Questions around DA 48 to 26. Councillor Harris.
Thank you. Just as a question, are there any conditions or discretions that are required for us to approve this particular item today? Because I can't seem to find any.
They're all there. Building height, setback, number of... It's in the schedule.
Okay, so whilst this is covered in the report, Councillor Harris, I will go to Planner Mainsbridge just for any clarification for those that may not be across the detail.
Yes, it's the building height is discretion along with setbacks to the front and the northern side, and there's also an additional crossover proposed. So there are 3 discretions.
Great, thank you. Further questions? Excellent. Contributions then. Councillor Harris is the mover.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, sorry for not reading those 2 minor discretions, the building height and the setback. On a sloping block having some issues or intrusions into the setback or building height is perhaps not unexpected. But this house that is being proposed, whilst it is a large house, it is a large block of land. It will be visible in those residents who may live further up the hill, but so would any property or any building on that particular site. And so I feel that this is simply a development application that deserves our approval here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Harris. Councillor Britton, anything further as the seconder? Further contributions from the table? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. Thank you, planning team. We now no longer sit as a planning authority under agenda item number 11. So we move through to 12. Announcements by the Mayor are published monthly, so we go to councillor reports at 13. Do we have any councillor reports? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I'm just letting people know that I've been doing a few things in the last little while. I attended the opening of the Tidy Towns Sustainable Awards dinner at the Hall on the 16th of May with the Mayor and Harris and and what a fantastic showing that we put up, I think, as a council. So I've taken a hat off to the officers who put all the work in putting that together. We were the defending champions. So it was nice to actually put on a really good show for our visiting from all around the country, from Northern Territory to southern Western Australia. It was absolutely fantastic. I don't think I've seen so many politicians in the room. I'm sure those who come from other states couldn't believe how many politicians actually got up and spoke that night. But it was really well attended, really well done. You know, I have to say, welcome to the country, which was done by Video Conference, one of the best one I've heard, talking about our rules, which was absolutely sensational. On the 18th, I had the pleasure of attending an audit panel meeting, which is a very important thing, along with Councillor Walker and Councillor Harris also attended as an observer. A lot of good things go on in that meeting, so really well attended, a really good discussion that went on there. On the 19th, and taking on your commentary regarding Volunteer Recognition Week, we had Volunteer Recognition Day at Northern Suburbs Community Centre last Wednesday, and that was really well attended, and it just shows the depth of people that actually deal in our community and the things that they actually do. But I do note with some concern is that the number of volunteers across the board are reducing, so I think it's something that we now need to be really trying to get out there and promote, and maybe we as a council can actually take on an active role in doing something in that as well, because they're very, very well valued and very much needed within our community with the limited resources we have in many of the areas of our community. On the 20th of May, I attended the opening of the Australian Musical Theatre Festival, which was, I think, going up against the Hawthorn football match and the supercars, but beautifully it was actually pretty well sold out. Had a fantastic 3 or 4 days within the Albert Hall, and I know they loved their new presence there, and they finished up out at Clarendon House on the Sunday, but really well attended by a lot of people, so that's great, and it showed that even though we had 3 big events going on for the weekend, they actually worked in well with each other. So I think that we can host more than one thing on the one weekend, but it'd be still nice to spread them out a bit more. Attended the Hawthorn Adelaide match on the 21st of the 5th, and the state budget luncheon on the 22nd of the 5th as well, but along with a number of other councillors. So a lot going on in and around Launceston in our particularly slow time of the year, apparently.
Excellent. Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Further councillor reports? Councillor McMahon.
Thank you. On the 17th of May, I officiated at the Soroptis International Launceston High Tea, where 70 women came together to raise money for the Premi Baby Project. The project provides a care pack to parents of Premi babies, which contain a baby beanie, blanket, grow suit and scent pads that are used as a comforter in the baby's crib, and approximately $6,000 was raised on the day.
Great.
I also attended the footy as well, and my partner was lucky enough to win the last goal. Yeah, it was a good night.
Awesome. Thank you. Councillor Harris, then Councillor Britton.
Yes, look, I won't go on because I attended things like the state budget lunch, the Hawthorn Adelaide game, the audit panel meeting, the Keep Australia Beautiful Awards, as already mentioned. But I will mention the Australian Music Theatre Festival because I had never attended that before. It's something that has been here since 2019, and I must admit I hadn't thought it would be something I would be particularly enjoy. But much to my surprise, I found it fantastic, and I can only say to anyone else out there, if you've ever gone along and enjoyed a encore theatre production in the past, then you should put the Australian Musical Theatre Festival in 2027 on your agenda, because if you enjoyed the encore, you will certainly enjoy what they bring to this town. And it is in fact a festival that I think has great potential for us to grow over the coming years. because although we may have the Tassie Devils playing here for 6 games a year for the next, from 28 to 30, post that we will probably need additional draw card events, and I think that this is one of those events. The Australian Musical Theatre Festival can grow into a true destination tourism event in the same way that the Elvis Festival does so well out of parks in New South Wales. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Harris. Councillor Britton.
Thank you very much. Yes, I attended the footy as well, didn't win anything, but enjoyed the sausage rolls at half time. And on Friday the 22nd, I also attended the Australian Musical Theatre Festival to go and see the one-off show of The Frogs, which I just wanted to do a shout out and congratulations to the whole cast and crew of The Frogs. I think they did it all in about 48 hours. I'm looking at Councillor Marsden, who was one of the stars of the show, so special. He had some questionable behaviour in character, but I'm sure he's back to his good self now. So it was also good just to see the Albert Hall utilised in such a way. Began outside in the foyer, then we walked in, then we sat down, and it was a good event. So thank you, and thanks to them. Well done. Cheers.
Great, thank you, Councillor Priest.
Thanks, Mayor. I have also attended a few events that fellow councillors have mentioned today. I just wanted to draw attention and thank Ramona Lyon from the Northern Suburbs area. She has organised 3 Cancer Council Biggest Morning Teas. Councillor Kai and I have attended 2 morning teas at 2 different neighbourhood houses, and they've been a fantastic event. They do such a great job at those particular buildings, and the next one is this coming Monday at the Shed in Dover Street. So if anybody else would like to attend, that would be fantastic. Kingbelly Crescent, sorry, written down the wrong address. Kingbelly Crescent, if anybody else would like to attend, Councillor Kai and myself are going, and it would be welcome that they bring a plate to share. And once again, thanks Ramona Lyon for organising these events. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Further councillor reports? Cool, we'll move forward through to questions by councillors at 14.1. We've got questions on notice by councillors which are published and responded to as a part of this agenda. So, moving through to questions without notice at 14.2. Any questions without notice? Councillor Walker.
Thank you. My questions go to the building recently demolished at 180 George Street, otherwise known as Rangitukia, I do believe, as it was referred to in the Paul Davies report on significant heritage buildings in Launceston, commissioned by this council in around 2006. What efforts did Launceston Council make, bearing in mind our commitment to waste reduction and climate change initiatives, to repurpose the materials that were no doubt generated as a result of this demolition? That is my first question, and of course I don't expect these to be answered at the moment, but I presume it would be taken on notice.
I see some notes being taken, thank
you. Very good. So yes, just in terms of were any efforts made to repurpose and to encourage recycling, as we did most recently with the building in Franklin Street, 52 Franklin Street. Second question, what steps is the council taking to address the languishing list that is now 20 years old, which includes around 900 properties in Launceston that are seen as historically significant properties? So what steps is council taking to seek these properties at least being further considered for local heritage register? And finally, how can the public be assured that they in future can have any say in demolitions when properties, while maybe recognised as having heritage value, no advertising is triggered? Is there any way in which council can be more proactive in liaising with the community in regards to demolition for properties that aren't currently heritage listed.
Great, thanks Councillor Walker. And yeah, again, as you've noted and appreciate the depth of that response, we'll take that on notice and ensure that that's published. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Britton.
Thank you. Just a question taken on notes, but we've had Mr Andrew Duncan working on the flood mitigation report now for about 6 months. Was there any word on when we may receive an update to how that's going?
Great, thank you. We'll ensure that we've got that correct information and we'll take that on notice and publish that as well. Councillor Harris.
Yes, just a quick one. In regard to the Welcome to Launceston art that is being installed on the southern outlet, is it able to provide us with a date of when that is likely to be installed and commissioned? I assume it's gone through the process of being manufactured up in Queensland, but just when it's going to be installed. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. We'll deep dive into that and get some logistics around that time frame and ensure that that's published also. Thank you. Any further questions without notice? Okay, we'll move forward through the agenda. We have no written notices of motion or committee reports that have been identified as a part of this agenda at 15 and 16. At 17, we've got connections and livability, which includes QVMAC. 17.1 is the quarterly report, January to March. Recommendation is to receive the report. Somebody please to move. Great, Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Harris. Any questions to the report? Starting with the Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. A great report, so that's my speech on it as well. So thank you very much. It's very, very illuminating, the stuff that actually goes on that we don't really know. I know that we've got Adopt a Tree program. I recall back in previous council with Councillor Van Zetten, there was somebody who was really wanting to donate a lot of money towards tree programs, and we did investigate whether we should set ourselves up as a DGR status in regards to that, where somebody can actually donate. And so looking at other options and where businesses can actually say, okay, well, the tree's outside our office, is there something that we can actually do to actually be the owner or effectively the sponsor of those trees? So just wondering whether that Adopt a Tree thing could actually, we could look a little bit further than that. There would have been some work done in relation to setting up a DGR status a little while ago, so that's just number one, just off the back of my head. And the second one was just the Make Your Mark Heritage Trail. I wasn't clear as to whether, are we putting any QR codes down in regards to where we're putting those memories, so QR code, and then people can go straight to more about history of the property? Is that something that we're doing along with the plaques? It didn't seem clear in the report.
I don't believe there's a QR code on the actual plaque, but there'll certainly be further information on our new lonnie.com website about those heritage.
So, I mean, given the QR codes are now a thing of the day, if we had a QR code sitting and then bang, take them straight to the detail about it, might be something worth considering. So would that be something we could consider?
I believe that they've already been designed, but it's certainly something we can
do
consider
something
for
separate,
the
I would
future.
have thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Further question, Councillor Harris.
No, other than another excellent report. And I will just make a question in regard to the urban tree planner that we have employed, who came and spoke to my Rotary Club, and she was very well received. And I was just wondering whether, in fact, she has a program of speaking to other service clubs who would be interested in hearing her, because certainly the feedback from the Rotarians at my club was that they thoroughly enjoyed it and actually understood a lot more of what is possible and what could be done in the future and will be being done in the future.
I'm assuming that you're referring to our urban forester, Emma. She does do speaking on invitation, and I'm sure she'd welcome the opportunity. It's a great passion of hers.
Great. Any further questions before we move into speaking? Okay, just got some clarification here on some of the report from the CEO as well around some questions that have been asked today in this forum.
Thank you, Mayor. And just to highlight for members' benefits, and whilst we'll still take Councillor Walker and Councillor Harris's questions on notice and report back accordingly, just to draw everyone's attention that heritage is covered on page 71 of the report we're currently discussing, and the Northern Gateway is discussed on page 71, including a delivery date of August 2026.
Great. Okay, so we'll move to the mover and the seconder. Further contributions, Deputy Mayor.
Oh, look, I just want to say, look, I really do value these reports. I think they're really good and are nice and succinct, and they're done in brevity for each area, which I think is really good, so I can just focus in on things that really interest you. So it just shows the depth of work that's going on in each division, so I really appreciate that work that's gone into it.
Excellent, thank you. Councillor Britton was the seconder. Nothing further? Anything further from the table? Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the report. Of course, heritage is covered in that report as well as numerous other things, including engagement with the Aboriginal community, I see. It doesn't mean that we're necessarily doing a good job when it comes to these things. It just means that these things have been mentioned. Some action has been taken, but of course there's always more work to do. When it comes to Aboriginal engagement, whilst I appreciate that, we also do have an Aboriginal partnership plan that was passed by this council in 2019, which asked this council to directly engage with the Aboriginal community on a broad scale. And I'm yet to see great evidence of that. When it comes to heritage, of course, it has been 20 years since we've had the Paul Davies report, and although there is some action being taken, I see most recently the listing of Lamont House in Heritage Park and some further work on precincts. It doesn't diminish the fact that a 150-year-old house was just demolished in Launceston, one that is prominent, did have heritage values that were recognised by this council through that report that was accepted by this table back in 2007, and that work must continue with all haste. And so I encourage the author of this report and those who work in those departments to continue their great work in that regard. Thank you, Chair.
Great, thanks, Councillor Walker. Any further contributions? Okay, we'll move to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. 17.2, we have the QVMag Museum Governance Advisory Board membership. In the recommendation here, we have that council notes any recent resignations and acknowledges their contribution, as well as it notes advice from the Chair, James Riggle, and it also resolves the current references, the terms of reference, and the people there have listed themselves from A to H. Somebody please to move. Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Britton. Questions to the item? Any questions? Councillor Walker?
Just, I wondered, is there, I thought that there was a provision for a council member to be on that board. Is that still the case? And is there... Oh, the Mayor, it mentions it in there, doesn't it?
Yep, has to be.
Thank you.
Cool. And CEO is a non-voting compulsory member as well, who can delegate that to staff. Any further questions? Okay, to the mover and the seconder then. Deputy Mayor.
I just want to acknowledge the depth of personnel who put their name forward. It's fantastic to see the level of interest. I said it's now our major thing is to make sure that that works and that they feel like they're meaningfully engaged in what the QVMag can be. So that's my only comment in regard to that, but I think a fantastic group of people that you've assembled.
Cool. Councillor Britton, any further contributions? Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Chair. It is wonderful to see the acknowledgement of these people, something that we don't always do to other committees within this council, and something I would like to see rectified is the depth and calibre of people who give up of their time freely to be part of various council committees. This, very clearly states publicly who these people are, their qualifications and their expertise. And we do have that similarly reflected in other council committees, but unfortunately there is no public record of who those people are as far as I'm aware. And I do think that's something that we could potentially address. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Further contributions? Anything to close? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. 18. Thank you, Ali. We've got community asset and design at 18.1. We've got some new street names. Recommendation being that council approves the names Winterbourne and Sidbury Streets, which are just there off Kinsley Drive in St Leonards. Got no noted speakers. Being moved by Councillor Harris, seconded by Councillor Britton. Any questions? Okay, contributions. Councillor Harris, any further contributions? Fantastic. To the vote, all those in favour, all councillors present, the motion is carried. 18.2, we've got a new street name, which is Rocky Creek Court. Recommendation is to approve. Somebody please to move. Councillor Marsden, seconded by Councillor Britton. Any contributions or questions? There being none, we move to the vote. All those in favour, all councillors present, the motion is carried. That's my recommendation there for you. Okay, 18.3, we've got the draft Allenvale Neighbourhood Plan update. This is around, no, you can keep that, that's yours. Put it in. Beautiful. Public exhibition. We've got no noted speakers to this one. Recommendation is that council endorses the draft Allenvale Neighbourhood Plan and draft Allenvale Neighbourhood Plan report for community consultation. Now, this is for a minimum period. It will go till Sunday, the 28th of June. Just seen this nationally recognised, this approach with St Leonards, so this is fantastic. Been moved by Councillor Harris, seconded by Councillor Britton. Any questions before we get to speaking? Being no questions, Councillor Harris.
Yeah, thank you. This is the start of the process for the neighbourhood plan for Allenvale. I visited there a couple of weeks ago and stood at the end of Allenvale Road to look at the land itself, which was an interesting perspective compared to seeing the flat three diagrams, if you like, on a screen at a workshop. And you could see where, unfortunately, because of state growth and national highway rules, we unfortunately will not have a turn-in, turn-out on the East Hamer Highway into this subdivision, which, and I understand that's well outside our control, but it is probably the only problem, and I'm sure others will raise it when they see the plan. Why don't we do that? But it is outside our rules, and so we must work within what our rules are. And as such, the development of the commercial centre, not at the end of Allenvale Road as perhaps I might have thought, but in fact off Georgetown Road, makes some sense from that aspect. It will certainly be accessible from those travelling from the north of Dilston and beyond to access a small business and then get back on the highway to come into town. So it is part of a process. We're open for 28 days of community consultation. I do encourage people to look at that. It is a large area. I think there's 1,500 blocks that will be created in this area, and it is land that Launceston does need for its housing growth, and it is something that, by working under the neighbourhood plan, all of the developers work together for the common good, and I think that is something that should be encouraged in every neighbourhood. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councillor Britton is the seconder. Covered. Anything further from the table? Councillor Walker? Yeah, we've just got a quick question, Deputy Mayor.
Just in regard to public consultation, we go out and do this quite regularly. Sometimes I get totally disappointed in the level of response that we get in relation to that, and therefore I question whether we get valuable, and then all of a sudden we hear from people who didn't know anything about it. So I just wonder, I note that Together Tomorrow is our sort of preferred medium. Given the Newnham area and so forth like that, is there any thought of going further with letterboxing, or just the breadth of coverage to ensure that the maximum number of people who live in and around that area have the opportunity to have their say? I mean, I know it's difficult because I don't know, you send out surveys, you do all sorts of different things these days, it's more challenging, but just to see whether we can actually get a better impact from our surveys.
Thank you.
Sure, thanks for the question, Councillor. So we will be putting letters out to community members that live not only adjacent, similar to a DA, but kind of extending further to Georgetown Road. So you're collecting all of that Newnham area, even up into Rochalee. We do plan to go out to the community and meet them physically, working with either Brooks High School or the Newnham Community Centre to establish a drop-in session where people can come and speak to us directly.
Great, thanks, Vincent. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, and I thank the staff for the work that they've done to bring this to this point, and the consultation with councillors. Now it is time for that consultation to go to broader spheres. And my concerns, I suppose, apart from the land use and development patterns, which won't be dissimilar to much of the residential land in that area, I suppose, albeit having to make considerations for, some land in uses and topography. My concern goes to the activity centre, and which would be up on Georgetown Road there. And considering that this, when it does have the activity centre, although it serves that immediate area, it will be the closest activity centre for people at Rochalee, people out on Lilydale Road, people out heading down the river, Dilston, all around that area, and all of a sudden you start to think, hold it, this is quite a few thousand people who the first shops that they would come to in an immediate sense, if they need a carton of milk, it will be that area there. So this activity centre also has to provide, well, hopefully that will provide some medium density housing, which I'm also very interested in, and I'd love to see that critical mass being developed so that activity centre has a sense of activity. Well, it's an activity centre. It's slightly more cosmopolitan, perhaps. Where it's not simply a service station or a supermarket and a chemist maybe, but that it has a little bit more in terms of the social activity that might be generated by having medium density housing. So that's the area that I would like to see that broader consultation involving, I suppose, where people stop and think, hold on a sec, I'll possibly be using this, even though it's 5-10 kilometres away from where I live. And that's where I think we should all, be putting our thoughts to it, because in lieu of anything else in that area, that is the interaction that a large amount of people will have. But thank you for the work.
Great, thanks, Councillor Walker. Deputy Mayor.
I also raised to support the whole concept of what we're doing here. It makes a lot more sense. And certainly, we were faced with developments that were being proposed by community housing in Rochalee, which I did do the long walk from Brooks High School all the way to Rochalee on Saturday, and it's not that far away. So it's actually good to have some level of community centre somewhere near Rochalee, because there's absolutely nothing otherwise for those people to utilise. So this is a great start, I think, in developing that, and hopefully it'll actually lead to having some form of activity centre further up the road, up Lilydale Road at some stage, to ensure the people of Rochalee will be able to benefit from something a little bit better than what they currently have to deal with. But this is a great start, and developing that will actually give some access to the people of Rochalee as well. So I endorse it going out for comment, and I'm interested to see what people come back with. I do note, we've got a fairly large community space down at the active reserve, down a 6-hectare active reserve. Appreciate some of that's probably low-lying and maybe subject to a bit of water in there, but hopefully we can identify ways to make that work for the people of that community, because it's clearly something that's required to ensure that everybody maintains a healthy lifestyle. But it's great to see some of the connections with parks and with bike lanes and so forth like that. So great job.
Excellent, thank you. Any further contributions? Anything to close? Okay, putting it to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. We've got delivery and performance at 19 now. 19.1 is the quarterly report, with the recommendation being to receive the report. Somebody please to move. It's been moved by Councillor Harris, seconded by Councillor Britton. Any questions to the report? Got a question from the Deputy Mayor.
Just note in there, I think hope I'm in the right one. I noticed we had a line marking renewal program for $180,000. Just a question, I mean, line marking's been a sore point for this council for a number of years, given the lack of sort of substance that the state government have been. So traditionally that's been provided, I think, as a service from State Growth, which is now probably Build Tasmania. Have we gone outside the loop for this to get something done? Or is this something that is tied in with that program that we get from the state government?
Excellent. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through the Executive Leader Delivery and Performance.
I can see one of my colleagues furiously nodding down there, and she's indicating that yes, that is something we have taken on in addition to that work carried out by the state government.
So a further question to that, because that sort of troubles me a little bit, that I know we've been waiting and they've been busy, and probably a bit like the Hobart buses, they're busy doing things on the Hobart bus routes and not on the Launceston bus routes at the moment as to whether they're painting all the roads down the south. Have we managed to get any engagement from the state government in regards to their propensity to come and actually do the job that we actually need them to do in Launceston? Because some of our roads and our line marking is pretty average at this point in time. So are we engaging actively with the government, and do we have any potential solutions to what they're supposed to support us with?
Thank you.
I might defer to the Executive Leader, Community Assets and Design. Thank you, Chelsea.
Thanks for the question, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Marshall. We have been actively engaging with DSG around our line marking program. My understanding is the engineering team makes suggestions as to what roads we would like to see line marked, but the ultimate decision rests with DSG. We will continue to engage. Obviously, we have quite a number of road assets, so we have determined that we need additional line marking over and above what we do with DSG to ensure that our roads are safe and clearly marked. We have had a slight delay in getting our own $180,000 line marking program out the door. I'm told that that is imminent, and we will fully expend those funds before the end of financial year.
Awesome, thank you. Any further questions before we get to speak?
Sorry, have we considered taking it in-house?
Yes, we have considered taking it in-house. I can't remember the specifics of the relationship we have, whether we pay and nominate or whether they pay and we nominate and they decide. So I'll get back to you with the specifics around that. But essentially that program's insufficient for our line marking needs anyway, so we need to make our own investment to improve the quality of those markings. It's really important from a safety perspective that people can see where the lanes are.
Awesome, thank you. Further questions? Okay then, Councillor Harris to speak.
Well, really, the report covers so many different areas, it's hard to say much more about it, but thank you for the staff for all that they do in this particular area. There is a lot that goes on in council, and I do encourage others to take the chance to read just what has been done, because not only does it cover line marking, but it covers many other areas of council operations as well, from EVs to others. So thank you for the report from the staff. And that'll do me.
Thanks, Councillor Harris. Councillor Britton, is the seconder?
No, just and also to the previous report we've done, and I believe there's another couple to come through, but just thank you very much for the staff. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you. No further contributions. We'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. 19.2, we've got fees and charges for 26-27. Recommendation is being that council sets the fees as published in this agenda. Somebody please to move. The Deputy Mayor has moved, seconded by Councillor Britton. Questions before we get to speaking, Deputy Mayor? Any questions? Any questions around the fees and charges? Okay, we'll move straight to speaking, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. And I think we've brought this before council workshop, so we've already discussed this, so we've sort of gone through. So hopefully anybody who had issues in regard to any of the increases that were put forward, noting that it bases off 5%. There are some that change more than that, up and down, as a result of certain things or new services. We had ample opportunity to actually talk about that in council workshop if we had any particular issues with that. So hopefully any of those that were needing to be amended from that conversation have been done so. Otherwise, I think it's just something we should just normally just pass.
Excellent, thank you. Seconder? Any further contributions? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. Thanks, Byron. 19.3, we've got Thank you. The provisions of bicycles to TasPol. We've got the recommendation here that due to discussions and changes in personnel and moving forward with different initiatives and task force that are currently out there, that council rescinds by absolute majority its previous decision. Somebody please to move. Councillor Harris has moved, seconded by Councillor Walker. Further contributions? Contributions? Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for moving the motion a few years ago now. I think everyone can understand why, in principle, it's a good idea. I think most of us can remember seeing police people on bicycles around Launceston and the speed and the, ubiquitousness of their presence in the inner CBD. But obviously this wasn't to be this time round. But it's worthy of having the discussion. I know that crime and antisocial behaviour is like a perennial. You keep sort of trimming the hedge, but it keeps on growing, unfortunately. And any ideas in that regard should be welcomed. And in this case, not to be, but nonetheless, good to see that council providing security at bus stops. Are having a proactive approach towards the security, especially in our CBD, but also in places like the Gorge and other parts that we manage. Thank you.
Thank you. Further contributions? Anything to close? Right, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. We've got 19.4, which is the Local Government Election Caretaker Policy. Recommendation is to adopt as published. Somebody please to move. Oh, we'll move it, make it live first. Been moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Britton. Questions? Deputy Mayor.
My question is, am I right? This hasn't actually passed the Parliament and this is just not a policy that is passed?
Yeah, that's correct. It does actually state that in the report that while this hasn't gone through in the bill, we are bringing this policy forward to Council. Correct, as we have done in the past. Yes, that's right.
But we did, so just to be clear, so we did have one that's just out of date?
That's right, there's an existing policy, we're simply bringing an updated version of the policy to you.
Great. Further questions? It's how we've been conducting ourselves, I believe, anyway. Deputy Mayor to speak.
Look, I'm comfortable with what's in it. I just thought that the state government was actually setting an agenda on how they wanted the caretaker provisions to operate, but I didn't think it had passed through Parliament yet. So that was probably more my question. So I'm very happy with it otherwise.
Yep, that's fine. Thank you. Further contributions?
Only just one quick question. This is not us entering into caretaker mode now, is it?
No.
This is
just when we do, this is how we approach it. Cool. Further contributions? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. At 20, we've got Strategy and Innovation, 20.1, the quarterly report. Recommendation is to receive. Somebody please to move. Councillor Britton has moved. Councillor Marsden has seconded. Any questions to the report? Okay, we'll move to speakers. Councillor Britton is the mover.
Just once again, thank you very much. I'm sure a lot of work goes into those reports, so cheers.
Awesome, thank you. Councillor Marsden is the seconder.
Just to second what Councillor Britton said.
Great. Any contributions to the report? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. Just as everyone got their seats. Right, we've got a lease here at 20.2, the lease of the Macquarie House basement, noting that we've been out to tender a couple of times for EOIs. On this one, we have somebody come to us, and that recommendation is that council, with the published conditions, forms the intent to lease the Macquarie House basement as published. Somebody please to move. I've got Councillor McMahon has moved, seconded by Councillor Harris. Questions around Sawtooth taking the lease before we get to speaking? Okay, Councillor McMahon.
Thank you. I think this is a fantastic idea. I think it'll be great to have them in the city. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Awesome. Councillor Harris, further contributions? Anything further from the table? Councillor Walker.
Thank you very much, Chair. It is good to see that someone has approached us and that our council officers have been proactive in facilitating this. It has been somewhat problematic over the years because of the space not lending itself, even though it is currently zoned for the use as a hospitality. It doesn't actually have a kitchen or anything like that in it, so it makes it difficult. So to find a use and to read the description here, not just the use in terms of a suitable space to display art, but also working in conjunction with enterprise, because the access to the building, of course, is the other thing. There's a lift internal to the building that you have to go through one door in order to get there, and I think this has been a bit of a handbrake on anyone being able to utilise this space. Having said all that, I know part of the report says that this will require a new permitted use for this site, and so I'll just finish by asking, does that mean this will come back to us in another form in the near future for that change of use?
Thank you, Councillor.
No, the report won't be required to come back. Council officers will undertake the process to commence the change of use process.
Great, thank you. Deputy Mayor.
I stand to support the motion and thank the work of the officers. I know we've been out to expressions of interest in all sorts of different opportunities to try and lease it, and it was previously Woofy's Cafe, I think was what the original use was from memory. And so it was used as a hospitality, and clearly things have moved on in regard to that and the ability for us to service that. Clearly access is a significant issue, but maybe we can put a hydraulic lift in to get it up and down out of there, maybe, possibly. Do it once and do it properly, apparently. Sorry, that's facetious and a bit smart-ass, but look, I think a great outcome.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Further contributions? Anything to close? No? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. At 20.3, we've got Russell Plains Farm Future Plan. Recommendation is that council notes that 126 to 128 Russell Plains Road in Rochelle is not required for future landfill development, and also that its future will be considered as part of a process to determine its highest and best use going forward, not for today. It's been moved by Councillor Walker, seconded by Councillor Britton. Questions before we get to speaking? Councillor Britton.
I have read it and looked at it. I just want clarification. So today we are just noting that we're not going to use this for waste, and that we should then look at it in a different. Do we always have to make that decision about something we own? Like, why are we making this decision about this land?
Sure. Thank you, Councillor Britton.
We're making a decision based on a notice of motion that came previously. That land was purchased back in the 90s for the purpose of landfilling. So the notice of motion really brought up, do we still need all of that land for future landfilling? Which the reports that we've done have come back and shown that it's not really ideal for landfilling. That's not to say we couldn't keep some of it for that, but that's why we're here today, to address that notice of motion.
Great. Thank you. Any further questions before speaking? Okay, Councillor Walker is the mover.
Thank you. 860 hectares that we have in this side of Launceston. I know for many a day we've heard people complain about being encroached upon by one council, West Hamer, Meander Valley, Northern Midlands. But we look to the east, and a prescient council around 30 years ago decided to buy a huge parcel of land, and that has sat there ever since. Been leased a few times and that sort of thing, more than one or two sort of antisocial incidents happening there, but nonetheless council's in such an excellent position now to move forward with opportunities, let's say, at the moment for this land. So I'll take some credit here. Our previous CEO, Michael Stretton, did put this motion to council after, I suppose, I was persistent in saying that Launceston Council should look at this land as an asset and a potential future development area where council could be in the driver's seat. That report was commissioned, and that is why we're here now receiving that report. where it's been determined that it's probably going to be 30 years at least before Launceston Council has a requirement for further space in terms of waste, resource management and recovery, and in 30 years' time, that scenario may be different again. So, Launceston has to have a big conversation about this at some time. As it was prescient for the council to purchase that land, it might be best that we do sell it, or that we do partake in developing it in conjunction with other developers. But what I think it gives us the opportunity is to imagine a better future for Launceston and for all those suburbs that connect with it, all the way around from Rochalee to Mayfield, and all suburbs in between. And once you start imagining that, you think this could change the face of Launceston, especially that side of Launceston. And there's no other council in that direction in the immediate vicinity for us to worry about them using our resources and our various facilities. It is a beautiful part of Launceston. If you go up there and you get right to the top of the hill, there's a tower, Telstra Tower, and you look down and you see the entire city laid out before you. Absolutely spectacular. So I welcome the tabling of this report. I look forward with interest to how Launceston does develop our future waste facilities in that rapidly changing area. And I also look forward to how Launceston Council can reimagine our future, how we can grow our city in a responsible way, economically, financially, but also in a creative way when you have such a blank canvas there, either for us or for potential developers. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councillor Britton is the seconder. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. We often talk about Russell Plains for other reasons, so it's nice to be actually talking about it on the basis that we've now made a decision on what we don't need it for, and I think that's great, and I think it's been used, it's been clear-felled for us, so we've had lots of opportunities for our land to be developed for us on our behalf. But what I think is I think we should thank our forefathers for actually having the vision to buy that large tract of land for not a huge price at the time, and probably its value today is significantly more than what we paid for it, I'm sure. All I want to do, and I think it says in there, hasten slowly, I think this is a great opportunity for us, and taking into account something we're also going to talk about, the strategic vision of where we go with the properties that we do own and how we're going to utilise those. And I think thinking outside the square as we go through that process, engaging those that have actually got some skills to help us make sure we maximise the outcomes for Launceston, be that either from a commercial financial outcome or more from a community outcome view as we go forward. So I'm liking the idea that we now know what we need and what we don't need for landfill, and now we can go forward and actually put together a really appropriate plan, and probably it's a blank canvas almost out there.
Excellent. Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Harris.
Yeah, just to quickly say that, yes, it does present as a blank canvas, and it is an ideal opportunity for the city to consider how it could connect the outer suburbs of Rochalee to Ravenswood to Waverley, and in fact create a bypass for heavy vehicles to head on down to Bell Bay by creating a road through there. And I look forward to the opportunity of going to the community, because certainly many people in the community have said that we should have a road through there, and it will be something that if we did have, then what would be the best use of that other land that we have, particularly as some of it will butt up against our existing waste landfill station as well. But nevertheless, a good start, and I look forward to the community conversation on how best to use this land over the next few years. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any further contributions? Anything to close? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. 20.4, we've got the City of Launceston Annual Plan 25-26. This is the Q3 progress report, and the recommendation is to receive and note the progress. So somebody please to move. Councillor Harris has moved, seconded by Councillor Preece. Any questions to the progress before we speak? A question, Councillor Harris.
Yes, I just noticed that there's 26% or nine of the projects are behind schedule or delayed. Are there any concerns held by the CEO and others on whether any of those are urgent for action, or whether in fact the fact that they are delayed or behind schedule won't materially impact what the action is?
Thank you, Councillor Harris. No. No. Yep, good question. Any further questions? Okay, Councillor Harris is the mover.
Other than to say that this is a progress report, as I said, a quarter of the actions are behind, but if there's nothing that's urgent in that, the worry perhaps is we don't have a lot completed, only 0% of them, but 20 of them are on schedule. So I won't go into the individual actions here, and thank you for the staff who've put a lot of work into bringing this report together to help us understand where our various action items are at any point in time. It is only a three-quarter review. Look forward to the final review when hopefully most of those will come home as being completed. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Councillor Priest is the seconder. Further contributions, Deputy Mayor.
I just want to refer to the report. I think certainly having seen a number of reports over the last 15 years, this is the most comprehensive one that I've seen in relation to why we are doing things where we're at. And if you read the depth of them, you'll find out why we haven't gone, why some are behind and so forth. Like, there are good explanations as to why and the action plans in place. So I think really good report, so thank you.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Walker.
Yeah, I'd be very impressed if within the next quarter that this turns into a report where most things are completed. It just goes, to show sometimes, and you hear this about studies, that sometimes it's not until you actually compile the report that you actually see where you are. And sometimes the incidence, of crimes and things like that increases, and you realise it's actually because the reporting got better and we're picking up those things. And that's what's happening here. The reporting is getting better. And we're picking up things that, yes, have been progressing, but, things that have hit a roadblock for whatever reason. And some of these things, it's quite intricate how the City Heart project interfaces with other projects. Of course, there are some things that have been deferred or they've been halted, and they have to do with something like the QV mag, for example, directions that we once thought were appropriate and accepted by this table have no longer been pursued. And that's all here for the public to see, and I think that's the other important thing for us as members of council. We are getting the accurate reporting that we need to understand where we are, but as the community get to look in the window of the building and actually see where we are standing in terms of these yearly projects and these reports. But no, wouldn't encourage people to expect to see them all ticked off in 3 months' time, but I assure people that that this type of focus will bring about great results in the future. Thank you, Chair.
Great. Thank you. Any further contributions? Okay, to the vote then. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. 20.5, we've got the efficiency dividends report. Recommendation is to receive. Somebody please to move. Councillor McMahon, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Any questions prior to speaking? Councillor McMahon.
Just one question. In the efficiency dividends report, in the expenditure side, it has the Launceston CBD bus interchange additional Civic Square option and $123,000 allocated, but I thought that was now off the cards.
Excellent. Thank you for the question. Executive Leader.
This is money that was incurred in Q3, as opposed to the more recent decisions that you've made, which have been in Q4. So,
okay, so that will just come off the other side. It hasn't actually been spent.
We'll be able to find that out as we reconcile what was undertaken in Q3, and I suppose preempted the decision that the council has subsequently made.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Councillor McMahon, anything to speak? Contributions? Great. Deputy Mayor, as the seconder.
Just disappointing, this one's a negative.
Further contributions? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. We've got the Strategic Land and Property Review update at 20.6, with the recommendation being that council receives the report, and there are additional recommendations to note a temporary pause, as well as noting that that temporary pause does not apply to those already in consideration. Councillor Walker?
Question, if I may.
Thank you. Yes, we'll go straight to questions.
Yeah,
before we
look,
move.
I would be happy, to move this if that was the case. But I'd just like to question around the temporary pause of acquisitions and disposal, the second recommendation, because at this stage I would be happy to move the motion without that that pause being part of the recommendation. I certainly have read the report and the reasons why, but I would question whether we buy or sell that many properties, or land essentially it refers to. I'm presuming when you say land you mean buildings, land, any type of property. Would that include cars, or is that property, is it tractors?
Okay.
So it's not those, it's just physical property. And in any 6-month period, I would have thought that would be very minimal. Is it really that important that they be paused?
Great, thank you for the question. Executive Leader.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It relates to real property, so it's land as well as buildings. And the team has received a number of inquiries and things to investigate, and they actually take a long time to actually work through. And in particular, the officer that was tasked with doing the strategic land and property review had been pulled off to do other tasks. So what we're finding is that there's a combination of other requests that come in related to the business of council, legitimate business of council, and the day-to-day stuff that has drawn staff away from being able to do the strategic aspect of this work. So we're just asking that we pause so that we can get that strategic work done, and a big part of that is in relation to requests to either sell or inquiries to sell things or to acquire things. Do you want to add to that?
No, I think Jane summarised it quite well, but we do get regular requests from people that are leasing our properties to consider whether we might be able to pass those to them. And each one of those takes a significant amount of time. And we would like to be able to pause so that we can stop and look strategically and holistically at their entire portfolio rather than reacting on a case-by-case basis.
Supplementary, if I may. Thank you, Chair. Then I suppose, and these are things that I suppose councillors aren't generally privy to. I'm not to know that the amount that you get requests of. But of course, if councillors or, let's say if councillors saw an opportunity and they thought, well, look, that property, we absolutely must buy that, it's very different than what you're talking about, which is pausing community inquiries about the possibility of buying a strip of land, a nature strip or whatever, whatever the request might be. So I suppose my only concern then is, would this preclude council from making a strategic decision such as that?
Thanks, Councillor Walker.
No, Councillor Walker, it doesn't preclude council making that decision, and there is a part of the report that covers off that, if there is an imperative of resolution to either acquire or to divest, yes, we'll certainly undertake that.
Okay, thank you. Further questions, Deputy Mayor? Question?
So under the review will also assist council too. There are a number of dot points that are noted in there. Now, whether these, you might answer, are they intuitive, what I'm about to ask, and if not, should they be included in that list? One, strategies employed to maximise returns or establish better community use of the land or asset. So that, whether that's intuitive in there or not, but I'd like to see that being specifically something that we look at. Secondly, a review and an analysis of past decisions that we've made and guess lessons learned. Birchall's car park, which we sold off to a developer on the basis that they were going to do something that they didn't do many years ago, and or even the Birchall's building itself, the decisions that we made. So going back and looking at our processes that we put into that, sort of to say what things did we learn from those things. And secondly, looking potentially add an expert panel, external expert panel to assist us, maybe several different ones depending on the nature of what we're dealing with. So looking at whether they should be, something put in place to actually use the expertise that we've got within our community to help us make better decisions in regard to it. Do you see those as being precluded from that review, and or should they be added to it?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor.
Well, thank you for that. We're happy to take that on board and consider it. And in the annual plan for next year, there is a budget ask for funding, which will allow us to investigate some of these matters further and, where appropriate, seek the specialist advice too. So that could be over and beyond the suggestion you've made.
Thank you. Question, Councillor Pentridge? Yeah.
Having read through this, I noticed that Frederick Street has been excluded or taken out of or put on hold till 2026-27. Is that the case, or is, because it doesn't actually explain it adequately. If you go to page 161, halfway down, we've got the Launceston tramways museum. That's been going on now for 15 odd years, so we're going to put that on hold. We've got, I've only just heard of the automatic auto museum. That seems to have jumped a queue somewhere. And then, of course, we've got Frederick Street. Now, I was under the impression that in the workshop last week, we were discussing funding.
Just be careful that it's confidential.
We were discussing, I would have thought that it's a priority. Well, the question I'm asking is, does Frederick Street get put on hold for, it's been going on since the 14th of April 2004. Are we now telling these people to wait another 12 months?
Great, thank you. Yep, thanks for the question.
Thank you, Councillor Pentridge. For clarity, we've identified a list of activities there that will continue. And with regards to the property that you mentioned, it was there for indicative purposes, just to show that we are continuing to receive those inquiries. Our proposal at this stage is that we put the pause on to the end of the calendar year, so approximately 6 months, or until such time as the strategic property review is completed. However, if Council identifies that there is a strategic imperative and it's something that you would like us to attend to sooner, then clearly we will take instruction from Council on that.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, so looking for a mover and a seconder. And Councillor Walker, you're happy with as published? Yep, fine. Good clarifying before we did move it. So moved by Councillor Walker, seconded by Councillor Harris. Any further questions? Okay, Councillor Walker.
Thank you for the explanations there and then the work that's been done to bring this report to this stage. I think if people were to listen to those questions and those observations, they would understand the complexity, the complex nature. Launceston does own hundreds and hundreds of properties. Launceston Council, some that we've inherited from amalgamations with other councils, and it is a big task in which to go through all those. Certainly you've allayed any fears that I have, and if any councillor does feel strongly about any particular property, then they are free to bring a notice of motion to this table and that will be dealt with accordingly. In the meantime, I suppose, it makes me realise that there will be opportunists out there who look at Launceston Council properties and think, hello, here's an opportunity here. And so those inquiries probably do come in on a very regular basis. So if we are to make this pause, it gives this council, and I presume it would also be the next council before this is complete, that opportunity to take stock, to get some really solid recommendations about the future use of these properties, indeed, potentially the future sale of some of these properties, and then giving the broader community that opportunity, not just one opportunist who comes and sees that chance, but rather the broader community may be an opportunity So we'll let the process continue.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Walker. And you touched on a good point then as well around caretaker mode coming forward and big decisions like that, potentially through particularly the policy that was existing and now has been updated as of this meeting, that those kind of decisions very well might fall out of, or some of those decisions might fall out of the remit of current council in caretaker mode as well. So we appreciate that clarification there too. Seconded by Councillor Harris.
Yes, just to say that it's a good decision to put a pause on things. We did it with
maintenance.
Maintenance, that's exactly right, and it's now been lifted, and so those people who had been affected by maintenance are now able to move forward, and I think this is a good move. And as you've said, should a particular opportunity present itself that's unknown at this stage, we can always bring that as a motion to this table to enable us to perhaps look at purchasing an important asset should one become available, whatever that may be. I'm not sure what it could be, but I think it opens up that opportunity for us, but also give staff the opportunity to do their job without having to be mucking around with other inquiries that happen. They have a standard answer that says, not now, come and see me next year. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. Any further contributions? Councillor Pentridge.
I'd like an answer. Are we going to proceed with prior to the end of this council on Frederick Street? Or are we going to now handball that to another council to start the whole process all over again? I mean, Frederick Street is a little bit unique, isn't it? Plus there's been a lot of work done on it. Can we proceed with Frederick Street? Or is that on hold too? Yes or no?
Thank you. Executive Leader.
We can certainly look at Frederick Street and understand the breadth and the depth of what may be required, just to determine the workload and whether we can accommodate that. Given the things that we are continuing to progress and the discussions we've had recently in workshop with a number of priority requests that have been coming from various community groups, we just need to be mindful of what we can accommodate and what is going to potentially compromise our bigger picture, and looking more strategically at the land and the property that we're holding and what we might do with that. So I think we would just need as staff to look at that more closely and see what does that entail.
At the last workshop, it was pretty clear that the discussion came up in relationship to Frederick Street. But I would think that Frederick Street is unique in the fact that the people that have been waiting since April 2004 have a substantial amount of money put into it, but that decision is brought forward and they get an answer.
CEO.
24, sorry.
CEO as the deliberation.
Thank you through the chair, and thank you, Councillor Pentridge, and I'm sure my able-bodied assistants to my far left, if they've got any further to add, they will add. Certainly understand your question around Frederick Street. Will we continue it? Yes, we will. Can we give you a definitive date? No, we cannot. To be fair, Councillor Pentridge, in just the last 4 weeks alone, we've received multiple inquiries, be it through elected officials or be it through community groups, or be it even through just this week 2 commercial private investment groups that have all knocked on our door, all seeking to urgently acquire property, all seeking to do it before caretaker equally as well. We have one person that's able to do this. So what we're essentially asking you today is, can we please prioritise and actually work on one at a time? At the moment, our staff are trying to respond to 4 different community groups, 2 different private investment groups, an array of other different individuals, including state government agencies, knowing that we now have a decision of council to transfer some land in relation to the convention centre equally, which is taking an enormous amount of time of our property officer in conjunction with all the other offers. So will we progress it? Yes, we will. Will we progress the other items in the report? Yes, we will. But what we also need to do is buy ourselves a little bit of time to calm the farm so we can actually work on them properly, one at a time, and get a proper decision. Noting that caretaker is coming, that does provide a complication for us by virtue of we had a very limited window of time before us to get a decision back to this council. We don't know whether we can or not, if we're to meet the obligations we have to meet, such as independent land valuations and a whole raft of other things to satisfy the Local Government Act in terms of potential disposal of land. So the team are working on it. What they're essentially asking is, can we please review it all in accordance? Some will take a bit of priority over others. Maybe that's Frederick Street, maybe that's not. Will it be lost? No, it will not be lost. But the number of inquiries we're receiving at the moment is escalating for a number of reasons, and some of those quite positive reasons, particularly when it's private investment groups.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm not completely satisfied. There's been a lot of work done on Frederick Street, and really, it's just been put back into a basket. And now, what you're really saying is that certain other things have become the priority above some of these things that we've been working on, like Frederick Street. So we're making, someone's made a decision that Frederick Street could possibly, due to, I think the word here is lack of staffing or something, we don't seem to have any problems in finding consultants for everything else. Can't we just get someone in to get this sorted out instead of waiting?
Through the Chair, I think we should also clarify the actual approved works to Frederick Street are a separate issue. So in terms of building works, they will still progress as normal. Transfer of land, as per the request we've recently received from the user of that group, that's what we can't guarantee will happen pre-caretaker or after caretaker.
Thank you.
Anything else? Excellent. Any further contributions? Anything to close, Councillor Walker? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? Councillor Pentridge against. The motion is carried. Okay, we've got 21, the CEO network. 21.1 is the CEO quarterly report. Oh, NTDC. Oh, yeah, sorry, I've skipped one page ahead. NTDC, 20.7. Northern Tasmanian Development Corporation, Q3 report. Recommendation to receive the report. Oh, yes, I wrote on the wrong one. Dominant move. Councillor Harris, seconded by Councillor Walker. Any questions to the report? Question, Deputy Mayor.
Note in there that the NTRLS work is being done on the regional planning for land use. At some stage we had conversations about whether we were happy with the direction that was taking. It's sort of looking like it's either nearly completed. Have we got ourselves to a level of satisfaction on where that's got to? And that may not be you. I'm looking at you, but I appreciate it's probably another division that needs to deal with that. But I just note the report's there. It says it's all but completed. But I know we had some misgivings in regard to that particular aspect, and so whether we're comfortable that that's finalised the way it should be.
I might ask if Executive Leader from Community Assets and Design, Chelsea, is available to answer that question. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Just in relation to the NTRL US,
yes.
I think we had some concerns about how that was evolving some time ago. I note in the report that it's basically showing that that is all but complete, and I'm just questioning whether we've got to a situation where we're comfortable with the way that that is going to be completed.
We have received at officer level a draft of the new version of the end trellis. We do have quite specific feedback on that at an officer level within Strategic Land Use and Infrastructure Planning team. We will continue. There is a steering committee meeting coming up, I believe it's in June, because it's recently been rescheduled, where we'll look at that document. Probably the most concerning element for us is the exclusion of South Prospect. So we do have draft correspondence ready to go to the appropriate representatives in the state regarding that element of it, but we continue to be engaged. It is fairly close, but it's not complete.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, to speak is the mover.
Yeah, the report, 12 pages long. It's interesting to note that all 7 Tasmanian main island, I guess, based northern councils are renewed, and even Flinders Island is back on board until June 26, which is only this next month. Progress, as Councillor McKenzie said, on various projects that they've been working on, including the Northern Tasmania Intermodal Freight Terminal. And I do note that they're also reassessing what NTDC will be and strategic planning. And in fact, myself and the executive leader will be attending the Member Council Strategy Workshop tomorrow to further help set the strategic direction of NTDC, and we'll be interested to see what comes out of that particular workshop, whether in fact it remains an advocacy-based organisation or whether it in fact becomes more of a, in lack of a better word, a doing organisation of actually doing some regional projects rather than just advocating for the projects. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further contributions? Councillor Walker was the seconder. Yep.
Thank you. And look, noting this report's up till March, so it doesn't include their newly appointed CEO, Michael Bailey. That will have, somewhat of a tangible effect on the organisation going forward and a different style that would be brought to the organisation. Notwithstanding the fact, though, that when we did recently agree as a council to continue 3 years of funding for NTDC, there was certainly talk of an internal review, and I suppose this strategy meeting tomorrow may be the first step in that. I do believe that there is room for greater clarity, even if we take an example like the transit link at Breadalbin or near the airport there. You have the Coordinator General's office being involved, you have various councils being involved, you have NTDC being involved, you've got state government being involved. Is the role of the NTDC to coordinate all that? Or is it actually a role of actually doing something? And in this case, what would they do? Because that is land that's not... It certainly has reference to land use planning, and I note that they are finalising their report on land use planning, but I think we are all very clear when it comes to land use planning what that land out there should be, and certainly that is a role for NTDC. They are funded to coordinate that on behalf of the state government. That's great. But going forward, I think is where we're all most interested now. What will that role be? And I would like to think that that role would be to help bring councils together in terms of resource sharing, in terms of potential future amalgamations, dare I say the word, things like that. That's not just coordinating things, it's doing something, and it's doing something that no one else is doing or that other people have failed to do. And NTDC needs to find that role, and I really look forward to the report back from this strategic planning. I would also look forward to seeing councillors, not just around this table, but in all member councils, having that opportunity to contribute to that review. And I'm not sure when that happens, because certainly at the time when they were seeking funding, there was a lot of talk about seeking input from fellow councillors. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Deputy Mayor, then Councillor McMahon.
Yeah, thank you. I stand to acknowledge the report, and I really wanted to stand and thank Chris Griffin, who was the interim CEO of NTDC, and also welcome Michael Bailey, and looking forward to his contribution, given his background, I think can be really valuable. I think we lost the opportunity of actually driving home a governance review by the way we funded it, but I would hope tomorrow, Councillor Harrison, your opportunity to say that, because a governance review is something that was very, very necessary in my view from the workshop that we had. So to me, getting the appropriate governance in and around the NTDC to ensure that Launceston City Council is well represented in regards to the amount that it actually contributes each year to that, I think is extremely important. And I think that was, the recommendation that we actually changed to a full 3 years. We could have done it for a year and got the governance sorted. Hopefully we haven't lost that opportunity as a result of the decision that we made a few weeks ago. So all I would do is hopefully Councillor Harris and Jane, if you're going tomorrow, and make sure that we push home that governance review is still something that we see as very important for Launceston City Council.
Thank you. Councillor McMahon.
Thank you. I do note in the report that there have been lots of reports done, lots of forums, lots of meetings, lots of reviews and conferences for this quarter. I do look forward to seeing some tangible outcomes from the work that has been done over this time. I would like to see some work being done around procurement that would be of a shared benefit to all councils that contribute to the NTDC that could potentially save money and improve efficiency. So maybe that's something that we can take to the next meeting. And I do also look forward to seeing the new direction with CEO Michael Bailey at the helm. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Councillor McMahon. And just on that, CEO.
Thank you, through the Chair. Thank you, Councillor McMahon. Just in relation to procurement, we have actually taken the leadership role as the City of Launceston with our neighbouring councils through the Regional GEMS Group, which is kind of an offshoot of NTDC, to actually host and employ a strategic regional procurement officer. So we have just shared the draft position description with my fellow colleagues at the surrounding councils, of which we will go to market. We will recruit that person with a sole focus on doing strategic procurement. So whether it's banking tenders, legal tenders, electricity contracts, road reseal programs, a whole raft of things, with a review at 12 months. And at that 12-month mark, we'll be able to actually measure the benefit of that role and what economic gain it's made for us as the city and the region. And I've already spoken to the incoming CEO of NTDC, who's very excited about that approach and will work hand in hand with us. I'm very, very pleased with his approach. And I think in 12 months' time, we'll be able to actually celebrate some real good wins in that space.
Thank you. Further contributions? Anything to close? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. Now we've got the CEO network at 21. 21.1 is the quarterly report. Recommendation is to receive and note the report. Somebody please to move. Been moved by Councillor Walker, seconded by Councillor Harris. Any questions for the CEO around the report? Okay, to speaking then, Councillor Walker.
Nothing to add. It's all there for the public to see what our CEO has been doing for the last 3 months. It's interesting, all these quarterly reports landing at the same meeting. If that is going to be the case, then there is a lot of reading both for councillors to do and for the public to do in regards to all the many and varied activities of this council.
Great, thank you. Councillor Harris, anything further to the report? Any contributions around the table? Okay, to the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. 21.2, status report on council decisions. This is as of the 21st. Recommendation is to receive. Somebody please to move. Deputy Mayor has moved. Seconded by Councillor Marsden. Any questions to decisions? Okay, speakers. Deputy Mayor.
Good and clear report.
Excellent. Any further contributions? To the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present. The motion is carried. Doing the same here for status on notices of motion at 21.3. Somebody please to move. Councillor Harris, seconded by Councillor McMahon. Any questions? Any contributions? To the vote. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. No late items, so we look to move into closed council at 23. Recommendation being to move in to discuss the published matters. Somebody please to move. Deputy Mayor has moved. Councillor Britton has seconded. All those in favour, we move into closed council. All councillors present, the motion is carried. Great, okay, councillors, so back in open session now. Somebody please to move the table is correct and true record. We've got the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Harris. All those in favour? All councillors present, the motion is carried. We close today's meeting at the time of 3:19, with the next meeting to be held here at 1 p.m. at the 11th of June, on the 11th of June. Thank you very much.